The following podcast will contain spoilers, tangents, hot takes, and excessive foul language. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, horror fans, and welcome to episode 312 of Frightmares. I'm your host, Austin Proctor, and joining me today for 1991's The Silence of the Lambs is Cory Johnson.
Heyo, Clarice.
Very nice. Doing a big...
Even though he never says that in the fucking movie.
It's one of those things that is so commonly misquoted. It is just like the conversation we had the other day when I was watching SpongeBob and Patrick goes, I only have $7. And I was like, I fucking swear to God, it's always been $3. And you're like, nope, it's always been $7. And I'm just like, it's always been $3. It's the same thing. It's one of the most misquoted things around. He never says hello, Clarice. He says Clarice a lot, but does not ever utter those two words together.
The closest thing he says to hello, Clarice is during one of the meetings, he says, good evening, Clarice.
Yes, he does say that. So, fun fact, there is no hello, Clarice. So, yeah, we're doing a big one this episode. This is a pretty massive movie, in my opinion, and I assume most people's opinions. I didn't have it on the slate originally for 1991 because I swore up and down that when I checked it out on IMDb, when I was going through all the movies to do for this year, it was not listed as a horror movie, but it sure as fuck is listed as a horror movie on IMDb, and that is the qualification. You either have to be labeled a horror movie on IMDb or Letterboxd, one of the two, both preferably, but, to be reviewed on the podcast. So I was excited when I saw that, because not that I didn't want to do Wes Craven's The People Under the Stairs, because I love that movie. I'd rather do this one, because it's just the better of the two, although I do think People Under the Stairs is incredibly underrated. So I'm trying to think of my history with this movie, and I obviously saw it before this watch. I know I've logged it 2 or 3 times, but seeing it for the first time, I genuinely don't remember. I know for a fact that on the last rewatch, so the watch before this one for the podcast, I was like entranced by this movie and was like, man, I don't remember it being this good. So clearly on my first watch, or my however many watches I had before, I just thought of it like, yeah, sure, it's good. But, that was when I didn't know how to appreciate film. So that's my very short and boring history with this movie. Cory, what about you?
My history with this actually goes back to the Videotan days. I have some vague memory of somebody in Matt's family saying, you know what movies really fucked me up? Silence of the Lambs and its sequel, Red Dragon. And I was like, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, and I was like, all right, whatever. So I decided to go check out Silence of the Lambs from fucking Videotan because I could walk in and rent fucking anything. No rules.
No rules. Just
and I rented it and I watched it and I didn't get it. I was just too young. I was like, I don't understand this. This doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah.
And then in high school, we watched it for a psych class movie on, I don't even remember what it was. But they were talking, I think it was how the profiling started, the history of it in psychology or whatever. Obviously the lesson didn't resonate with me, but the movie, I was like, damn, this is really fucking good. I still in high school don't totally understand it. So then years later, I watched it after high school and I was like, oh man, this is a really fucking good movie. I had seen it so many times and never understood it. And when I finally understood the themes and what was going on and the story that they were telling, I was like, wow, this is really good. Like it was almost worth the wait of seeing it a bunch of other times and not understanding it to understand it. It's so good.
That's probably exactly what happened with me, because you do need a certain level of, I don't know, maybe maturity. You have to be a certain age, I think, or you can be smart for your age, you can be young, but your brain has to hit a point where you can understand the storytelling and the narrative, because that's probably, again, what happened to me. I watched it and was like, sure, this is great. I don't really fucking get it. But now that I'm, 35 now, it's like, okay, I get the themes. I get what's going on here. It's an incredibly well fleshed out story. No pun intended, honestly. And really, I did not mean that one. It just happened. So yeah, I think obviously the older I've gotten, the more I've appreciated this movie. It's an incredibly high rating. And it's exciting to do a big movie like this, just because, I try to have some sort of a balance. Like, we'll do B movies, we'll do bigger movies, but I mean, this one is huge, and we'll get into why, like how big it is once we get into the Oscar stuff here. But before we do that, we got to do this. Let's talk about what did Jason Hill make me watch this week. He made me watch Children of the Night from 1991. Not Children of the Corn, Children of the Night. And so it is about a school teacher teaming up with a priest to stop a town being overrun by vampires. Cool, right? Small town setting, vampires, love it already. It's very strange, right? So it's about these two girls. It starts off with these two girls and their childhood friends. One's Cindy, one is Lucy, and they decide to symbolically cleanse themselves of the dirt of their town by swimming in a flooded, abandoned church crypt. Okay. Whatever, I'm pretty sure that's stagnant water. I don't even want to get into how gross that is. And Lucy drops her crucifix down into the water, which drifts onto the submerged remains of an ancient vampire, Zakir, and he awakes and kills her. And I'm like, wait a second. The crucifix brings the vampires back to life? Doesn't that usually hinder them? So that was a weird start, right? And they completely don't show this vampire turning everybody else into vampires, because basically like 10-15 minutes later, it's like the town is already overrun. I don't know if I missed like a week late. I don't know if I missed like one of those little cards that said this time in the future. But it's like everyone's just a vampire besides like this very few amount of people, so they just start fighting back. I'm not really sure where the logic is in this movie. And now for some reason they're after Lucy because she's a virgin and they want the virgin blood, but like they don't want the blood of other children, because I'm pretty sure there were other children that were not turned into vampires. And I was like, why are we specifically? It's entirely possible I missed some things. I was very tired last night. I did enjoy it. I just didn't know what the fuck was going on. Like, it's funny, it's campy. I love the small town setting. Jason and I agree that like we both love just a small town setting. So it was fun. I just don't particularly think it made a lot of sense, but I was kind of towards the end, I was definitely drifting in and out of consciousness. So my review isn't really technically fair. I will have to actually rewatch it when I'm not dead tired. Nonetheless, fun time. Definitely recommend it. It's on Tubi. You can check it out. It's only like 92 minutes. It's got a 2.9 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Jason gave it a 2.5. Review is solid small town horror movie, which I'm always a sucker for. Vampires look pretty cool here too. I agree with that. Also, don't know if Jason was making a pun by saying he's a sucker for a small town vampire movie. If he was, props. If you weren't, still props. So yeah, it's a fun time. Check it out. I definitely would recommend it, and I definitely need to rewatch it to see if I missed anything. I'm really hoping though that I didn't miss anything and it's just that ridiculous and over the top, because I'll probably rate it higher the next time. So
yeah, because I love the comedy when they like do a bit but don't explain it all. They're just like, all right, move it along. Like, here's the bit, there it's gone.
And it's gone. So that is Children of the Night from 1991. Check it out on Tubi.
Jason says, check it out. You'll probably hate it.
You'll probably hate it.
Thanks, Jason. Let's move on to the highest grossing movies of the year and the Oscar winners as well. Highest grossing movie of 1991 goes to Terminator 2 Judgment Day, rightfully so. $517.8 million. And the highest grossing horror movie of the year is the movie we're talking about today, The Silence of the Lambs, $272.7 million, which is quite incredible, to be honest. So this was the 64th Academy Awards presented on Monday, March 30th, 1992, honoring horror movies that released in 1991. Best Actor goes to Anthony Hopkins for The Silence of the Lambs. Actor in a Supporting Role goes to Jack Palance for City Slickers. Best Actress goes to Jodie Foster for The Silence of the Lambs. Actress in a Supporting Role is Mercedes Ruehl for The Fisher King. Cinematography goes to Robert Richardson for JFK. Director goes to Jonathan, it's either Demme or Demme, it's D-E-M-M-E, so we'll just say Jonathan Demme for The Silence of the Lambs. Musical score, Alan Menken for Beauty and the Beast. And Best Picture goes to The Silence of the Lambs, and it also won Best Adapted Screenplay because this is based off a novel. So in what I've mentioned, we've got 4. 4. Yeah, so it won like 5 fucking Academy Awards from the Oscars. Yeah, definitely well deserving, and we're gonna get into what we love about it just here in a second. Let's go to the IMDb Roundup here. So, if you haven't guessed it by now, we are talking about The Silence of the Lambs from 1991, released on, I love this so much, released on February 14th of that year in the US. So this is rated R for moderate sex and nudity, severe violence and gore, moderate profanity, no alcohol, drugs, and smoking, and severe frightening and intense scenes. Coming in at an hour 58, listed as a crime, drama, horror, thriller. Directed by Jonathan Demme, who also directed Philadelphia, The Manchurian Candidate, and music videos for The Talking Heads, Bruce Springsteen, Neil Young, and more. Written by Ted Talley, who only has 9 credits, but also wrote Red Dragon. Composed by Howard Shore, who has basically composed every Cronenberg movie from The Brood to The Shroud, so basically every one of his movies, Mrs. Doubtfire, and all of the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies. Cinematography by Tak Fujimoto, who also did the cinematography for Pretty in Pink, The Sixth Sense, and Devil. Edited by Craig McKay, who also edited Made in Manhattan, Carriers, and Europa Report. Starring Jodie Foster as Clarice Starling, who was also in Panic Room as Meg Altman. We've got Anthony Hopkins as Dr. Hannibal Lecter, who was also in Bram Stoker's Dracula as Professor Abraham Van Helsing, amongst many other things. Scott Glenn as Jack Crawford, who was also in The Keep as Glycan. Ted Levine as James Gum, who was also in The Hills Have Eyes remake as Big Bob. Got Anthony Held as Dr. Frederick Chilton, who was also in Deep Rising as Simon Canton. And special shout out to Roger Corman, who was briefly in this movie as FBI Director Hayden Burke. Love that little cameo. Estimated budget of only $19 million, which is incredible because it grossed $272.7 million. Filmed in the Bahamas, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Tennessee, and D.C. You can watch this on Plex and Tubi, but by the time this episode comes out, well, no, this episode will be released just in time if you haven't watched it, because it's going away on Tubi at the end of April, so you have like 2 or 3 more days to watch that. Movies that came out around the same time, we have Edward Scissorhands, Kindergarten Cop, The Godfather Part 3, Warlock, Popcorn, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, and Career Opportunities. Interesting mix there. IMDb summary, a young FBI cadet must receive the help of an incarcerated and manipulative cannibal killer to catch another serial killer, a madman who skins his victims. This is The Silence of the Lambs.
You spook easily, Starling?
Not yet, sir.
He's past the others. The last cell. I'll be watching. You'll do fine.
A killer is on the loose.
Keeps them alive for 3 days. Then he shoots them, skins them, and dumps them.
A rookie FBI agent is on his trail.
He's got real physical strength, cautious, precise, and he's never impulsive. He'll never stop.
But in order to track him down, she'll have to match wits.
I'll help you catch him, Clary.
Believe me, you don't want Hannibal Lecter inside your head.
With the darkest of all minds.
Just do your job, but never forget what he is.
Oh, he's a monster. Pure psychopath. So rare to capture one alive.
So close to the way you're going to catch him. Do you realize that? Oh, Clarice, your problem is you need to get more fun out of life.
You told me you don't spook easily.
You call this easy, sir?
Lecter's missing hand arm.
Man's a raving maniac. Who knows what he'll do?
Thank you, Clarice. Thank you.
So, Cory, overall thoughts. What do we have?
So normally I front load my feelings of this movie, and not that I haven't kind of done that already, but I'm going to be a little bit more reserved on this because what I want to say closing this out, I think will be more impactful that way.
I like it.
It's a very, very good movie. Every single actor in this movie is just on their A game. It's a very dark movie without being like overly so. Like it's now, depending on whose review on the internet you read, some of the theming may be like slightly problematic, but I mean, it was a movie made in the 90s. Like you have to look at it from a 90s lens. You cannot watch this movie from a 2025 lens, because then it just feels like, oh, well, that's off.
Yeah.
But if you can watch it in the context of when it came out, and even more so when the book was written, you get a much deeper appreciation for what the movie is. And for, while they may not have tackled one issue super well, it was to show a woman in a governmental agency being like the top dog is, for the 90s, pretty progressive without relying on any sexual undertones at all. They even kind of pointed out, like, Hannibal Lecter goes, you know, have you ever had any of your male bosses like come on to you, blah, blah, blah. And like, they even kind of make it a thing in the beginning of the movie to say, hey, we're not going to play on this. So it does so many things right. This movie does.
And it's funny because there is an implication, but only from Lecter, that Jack Crawford, Clarice's boss, might be doing this because he's into her, because he's like, have you ever thought about the possibility that Jack is into you and is using you to blah, blah, blah. But they never actually do any of that in the movie. It's mind games with fucking Lecter. He's just trying to get inside your head. He wants to get out of there, and he's going to use every possible way he can to get the fuck out of that cell. So 100% agree with everything you just said. I think this is, my overall thoughts is, I think this is one of the greatest crime thrillers to exist. It's incredibly smart, expertly shot, and perfectly cast outside one person who I was not too big on. And I forgot to mention, because now we are into the 90s now. I forgot to talk about some of the themes I saw in the 80s. So real quick, I'm just like 30 seconds here. Because remember in the 70s, we talked about how it's basically like women were being gaslit, women weren't being taken seriously. It was basically just oppressing women in the 70s. And in the 80s...
Right. Let's abuse women on camera.
On
for
camera.
Money.
Yeah. So the 80s, I feel like there was a definite surge of women in power, even from just the movies that we had reviewed in the 80s. So, for example, while Wendy Torrance in The Shining might not necessarily be a woman in power, she got to the end of the movie, even though she was still being gaslit and stuff like that, I feel like she was a very powerful woman. The Howling, you have Dee Wallace, woman in power, news anchor, going to solve this mystery. Poltergeist, the mom in that movie, is a fucking powerhouse. Christine, I know it's a car, but it's whatever. Fire,
I'll count it.
Firestarter, you have little Drew Barrymore playing Charlie McGee, creating fires, badass boss girl shit. And you know, that just continues with what we've done. So now in the 90s, that trend is kind of still continuing, I think, because you have Jodie Foster in The Silence of the Lambs. She is obviously the focal point outside of Hannibal, and she is a boss-ass bitch getting shit done. She's also new to this scene. She's a rookie, and I find that pretty impressive because she's still not even like out of her quote-unquote diapers, and she is solving this, like, you know, at the end of the movie, Jack, like, we could not have done this without you. And I love that.
The other thing that I really, really like about Jodie Foster's character is they make her smart, but not obnoxiously so.
Right.
And you get, and like, yeah, you're like, okay, she's in the FBI. She's obviously like some level above regular competency. So you don't think she's like some dum-dum, but then like, I don't know, maybe like 30 minutes into the movie, she comes back at Lecter with "you spoken an anagram," and like I was like, "What?"
Oh yeah, when Lecter's in the cage in that like courthouse or whatever, and she's like, she was like, "You're a little too obvious with that anagram. I saw that. I put it together," and because I was like, what the fuck? Because we know he's lying because it's Lecter, but seeing her figure that out and put the right name.
Well, even before that, when and we're getting a little into the weeds, but when Miggs kills himself, that's when the first anagram happens because he's talking about Jack Friend.
Oh, okay. I thought that was later in the movie. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I do agree though. She's incredibly smart without being obnoxious, and it's like this. I don't think this is just a opinion of mine. I don't know how true it is. I don't think Lecter. Either he saw how smart she was or he didn't, like, you know what I mean? I don't think he really knew how intelligent she was. Or maybe he saw that and was testing her to see how much she could figure out. Like, it's either one or the other. But Hannibal is obviously very intelligent.
I think it's more of he was testing her because he knew that, well, number one, she was the only person that was ever, while he was incarcerated, quote unquote, honest with her.
Right.
Or honest with him. Up until she does the whole fake out with him. But I think he even planned on, like, I'm going to give her just enough so that she thinks she can set me up so that we can go and it'll continue to grow. I think Lecter in this universe is like borderline omnipotence level of like evil genius.
That actually segues perfectly because I haven't had a theory about a movie in quite some time because it's kind of hard to have a theory with a movie like Chopping Mall. You know what I mean? But I do actually have a theory about this one that I was thinking about. I was thinking about this movie for days afterwards after I watched it. So I think my theory is that Hannibal Lecter saw the psychotic traits in Bill, and rather than curing him, he spurred him into becoming a serial killer. Therefore, should Hannibal ever be caught and sent to prison, which he obviously was, the authorities would be forced to go to Hannibal for information on Bill. Hannibal could then use this information to finagle a better deal or escape, which he does. So it's like Bill was nothing but a long con in Hannibal's potential prison escape. That's my theory, is like this has all been, he's been working on his way out if he ever needed to have one, and he just so happened to need a way out, and Buffalo Bill did exactly what Hannibal was hoping he would do by starting to, because we don't get anything on James' background, which I think is smart, because if you were to explain James Gunn's background, it would just get too convoluted. So we don't know exactly what kind of childhood he had other than the brief moment that we hear about. So that's my theory. I don't know how much weight it has to it, but it's like basically Hannibal used him as an insurance to, or like a get out of jail free card if need be. And the timing came in just right with Jodie Foster because she was the only person to actually be honest with Lecter, and that's why he kept talking to her. So whether this theory is there's no, that's the thing about a theory. There's nothing really backing it up. It's just fun to speculate. So some likes here. I do love a good cop cop crime drama, and that's why I said I think this is one of the best ones to exist. That's why I think I love giallo movies so much, because giallo combines slasher and crime thriller into one, and there's always like a big reveal. So I just love the narrative of like an FBI investigation or like a manhunt. I'm just so into those. Like true crimes I'm into as well. I think they're when they're done well, they're really good. And this is an example of, like I said, a nearly perfect movie. It's funny too, like right at the beginning of the movie when she goes to talk to Hannibal, I love how he picks her apart in about 5 minutes. Like, you were probably from here, and this is what happened with your backstory and your family and this and that. And she's like, fuck. But she doesn't show it on her face at all, which I think is I think that was the smart thing to do. But you can tell she is flabbergasted. Like, how did you just pick my entire life apart? It's because he's a fucking psychiatrist, and a very intelligent one as well, who probably has an IQ, I don't know, over 9,000. So that was a really interesting start. And the movie just gets going. You know, it's not like there's a bunch of downtime or a bunch of buildup. It's Jodie Foster running through the woods, talking to Jack Crawford. And I mean, within the first 10 minutes, I think, she's talking to Hannibal. And I couldn't take my eyes off the screen every time Lecter was on screen, every time James Gunn was on screen. Every single person in this movie has some sort of like electricity together, and I think they work very, very well. There's not really a weak link in the chain. Like I said, I do have an issue with one, and that's kind of my hot take, but I just love how the movie gets going, because it basically gets you engaged right off the bat. At least that was my experience. I'm assuming it's kind of the same for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get into that in my likes.
Okay. So what and something else I find interesting that's also established pretty early on is that it appears that everyone is kind of using Clarice in some sort of way. Obviously, Lecter wants to have a better place to live, so he's trying to manipulate her by giving her information in hopes that he'll get moved. You know, Crawford wants to get Lecter, so he sends in the young, attractive rookie with no plan, because usually Jack would send people in there with an agenda or a plan. But this time he doesn't send Clarice in with anything. He just says, go in there and talk to him. And they have a conversation about that later, where she was like, why didn't you send me in with the plan? And he was like, because I have been doing that for quite some time. It's never worked out. But then it's funny because Hannibal also, like I said, he doesn't like people being rude. And I think he's very appreciative of the fact that Clarice is treating him like a human being and not like this fucking monster that he is. But she's also a little terrified of him at the same time. It's like she wants to get the information. She's being honest. She's being open. And she's treating him with a certain level of respect I'm sure he's not used to because of who he is. And I find that fascinating, because most people in that situation are going to treat you like a dog. You know, you're not going to get respected by anybody in there. And I think that's all he wanted this entire time, even though he's been locked up. It's just some level of respect. If you're going to come in there and talk to him, just treat him like a human being. Yeah, I might be a little different than you. I killed and ate people. Okay, sorry, that wasn't something you did. But at the end of the day, we're all human beings who, you know, especially when he's being so polite and so nice, to come in there and be a dick just seems kind of weird. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. It's entirely possible. Yeah, it's just me.
He is. I mean, I know they say like he's sophisticated, yada yada, but he is, and that's one of the things that makes his character so great. Is he is uncharacteristically like polite and surface level calm. Like, you can see the rage in his eyes. I don't know how Anthony Hopkins got his eyes, like not the stuff around his eyes, like his eyeballs to act, but he did.
I mean, they are like every time he, you know, he'll like walk towards the camera that's like a stagnant shot or a stationary shot, and he's like looking right past the lens to Clarice. I mean, his eyes are like fucking daggers. You're right. I mean, like, his eyes are acting just as good as he is, because he's got such fierceness and intensity in his stare, and that's not easy to do. To have that look of an absolute maniac while remaining calm, like, he's got a calm face. But if you were to like cover up his mouth and nose and just see the eyes, that'd probably freak you the fuck out. It's the stuff of nightmares. And
and fun fact, Anthony Hopkins actually intentionally did not blink while his face was on camera.
Oh shit.
So every time you see him, it's just like he does not blink. It's like a staring contest with the camera every time he's on camera.
Oh my God, yeah. I feel like that was a bit of trivia, and that was trivia in The Shining for the bartender. No, now that you mentioned that, I'm trying to think about scenes with him, and yeah, I don't remember him blinking one time. So
that's the other reason that you just get so sucked in. He doesn't even blink at you. He's just locked the fuck in.
That definitely has some sort of weight into why those eyes felt so piercing, because he's not blinking. It's an unnatural, it's such a subtle but unnatural thing to do by not blinking that now it just clicked for me. That's exactly why those eyes, and he's got bright blue eyes that, like I said, they're just piercing through you. So that's interesting. Yeah, I wonder if that was an intentional choice on the director, or if that was a choice that he just fucking made up. That Anthony Hopkins just was like, I'm gonna do this.
I feel like that's an Anthony Hopkins decision because even by the time Silence of the Lambs had come around, like, this dude had fucking credit.
Oh yeah.
Like I think he was also like a theater credit. Like, he had done like big stage shows too, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, no, Anthony Hopkins, like, he's that dude.
He is that dude, because he started acting, let's see here, I know I'm pretty sure it was at least, let me check, it was at least the 60s. So yeah, he's got right now 155 credits. Yeah, he started acting in the 60s, 1960 to be exact. So this is 30 years into his career, which makes a lot of sense because he's that fucking good. So yeah, he does have theater experience from 1965, National Theater, invited by Laurence Olivier. And so yeah, he does have stage acting credits, and he's got that presence too, which is why I think he's so fantastic. But yeah, I mean, the movie itself, holy shit, it's especially good in combining what happened to Clarice in her past and also pushing the narrative of the movie forward, because they have this really interesting way of combining shots, and they only do it a couple times, like I think maybe 3 times, where Jodie Foster's walking and then the camera will pan over and it's like, she's like seeing a vision she's seeing a memory she had with her father. And then you learn that her father died. That was the most, traumatizing thing for her, which she tells the Lecter. And he's like, I know you're telling the truth. So I think he feels some level of connection with Clarice because of how honest she is being. And I just love their chemistry together, to be quite honest. I think they're great together. It's just crazy though to know that he only has 16 minutes, because he feels so much bigger than 16 minutes. Like it's just so weird. Maybe because the time on screen is so polarizing that it just feels like it's longer than it is, because 16 minutes out of a 2-hour movie. I mean, what is that, like an eighth of the movie? Like, what?
I think the reason that it works so well is, so number one, yeah, it may be almost a 2-hour movie, but the way that it is paced is so perfect.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they give you the setup and then they give you the Lecter. And then you have to play off what happened with that first Lecter meeting. Then you get Lecter again, and then you got to play off that. And it's almost like Lecter is the starting point for every new piece of the story, as if he is some weird, going back to what I was saying, like borderline on omnipotent. Like, this is not Clarice's story. This is the ending of Hannibal Lecter's story. This is how Hannibal Lecter gets away. He just frames it from the perspective of Clarice.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to put it. And every time he's on screen, it's almost like he just demands your attention in the most engaging way. He's a presence. He's like a force to be reckoned with. And it really does. And that's why I love talking about movies, because, you get different perspective, but putting it in the perspective of like, this is the end of his story and not the beginning of Clarice's story. That makes me have like a whole new mindset going into that movie now, because you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, I would say the main character is Clarice, because you're following her around the most, because you really can't follow Hannibal anywhere. He's locked up. But this is about Hannibal Lecter. I mean, at the end of the day, he's the one giving them the information. He's the one that is in jail for crimes he committed, and he's the one that wants to escape. Jodie Foster just happens to be in the mix of all this because she's in the right place at the right time to get to go to talk to him. So that is he also
gets the very last line of the movie,
and scene as well. You see him tootling off on the beach, and probably down. Well, I guess it was the Bahamas because that's where it said it was shot. So, something else I find interesting about the character of Lecter is. No, I don't feel any single person is safe with that man. I don't even think Clarice would be safe with that man outside of a cell because and I think one of the scenes that proves that is when obviously I know he wanted to escape, but when the cops come in to serve him the lamb chops because he requested a second dinner, those guys did not do anything to him. They even brought him a second dinner. They were polite to him and he wanted to get out. So he killed both of them and wore the guy's face out and got away. But I just don't think anyone is safe with that man because he's a wild card. I mean, do you think that Clarice would be safe in the same room if they were not caged up?
So I think now I'm going off the perspective of by the end of the story.
Okay.
By the end of the story, 100% Clarice is safe because he mentions in his letter, don't worry, I'm not coming after you. He does very much imply like, hey, you and me, we're cool. I'll let you do your thing. You let me do my thing. And then it won't be an issue.
Okay.
Now, I think if Clarice came after him in an air quotes official capacity for his own escape, yes, he would do something, but he would not. I don't think he would violate the bodies like he does to every other victim. I think like if he were to have to kill Clarice, it would be like gunshot getaway.
Yeah, that's
because
fair.
I think he does have that like deep respect for her for not only like being a willing pawn in his escape, but also again going back to giving him that average human decency and then being the like unknown smart one. Like everybody else that's come in and dealt with him is probably like a schmo. Like, all right, fucking get out of here. You're not smart enough to deal with me. And I think he appreciates her unrecognized potential.
Yeah, I think he does see something in her, and so then that tracks then, because at the end of the movie, you're right, because at the end of the movie, I mean, he really could come after her anytime he wanted to, but I don't think he wants to, because it's like she kind of unknowingly helped him escape, but I feel like in the back of her mind, what she was doing is like, did it ever cross your mind, Clarice, that maybe you're being used so he could escape? I don't know. I don't know if she ever actually thought about it too hard. I just think she was so much more focused on catching James Gumb than she was about Lecter escaping. I don't know. I just don't know if it ever actually crossed her mind like, ooh, maybe he's trying to get away.
Well, and even if it did, there might have been that subconscious, like, I don't care, because I can't remember what's exactly said, but Lecter goes on one of his fantastic monologues that he does, and he's like, truly what you want is career advancement. That's why you're doing this. That's why you want to catch this guy. So I think Lecter was able, because here's the thing. Clarice follows none of the rules that are given to her when she's about to go down and meet Lecter for the first time. Mm-hmm. Don't get near the glass. She walks directly up to the glass. Don't let Lecter know anything about you. And she doesn't like just give it to him on a plate and go, here you go, here's my story. She makes him work for it.
Right.
But she shows that she's willing to tell him things. And it makes you wonder if Lecter manipulated her into like not caring by, exacerbating what was going on. Like you were saying, he already had the Horcrux of Buffalo Bill, but now he knows how to make it worse by like pushing Bill into a corner.
Right.
Or if it was manipulation of like, oh, hey, I'm gonna like do this weird father figure thing to you and be the only one that congratulates you as you're going along so that you kind of forget that I'm here. Or is like Clarice going, nah, he's helping me. Fuck it. He earned that escape because,
That's fair.
real recognize real.
And, there is some level of her seeing Lecter. I think there's definitely some level of her seeing Lecter as a father figure for sure, because her father died so young. So he hasn't been there to watch her journey, to kind of watch her blossom in this career in the FBI. So I really do feel, now that you've said that she's like, I just want to be validated. And if it's by a serial killer who cannibalized, who's a cannibal, then so be it, whatever. I just want to feel validated from someone. And I feel like she gets that validation from Lecter. So yeah, it might be helping him escape. But I mean, if you do get that escape, at that point you earned it, because you were locked up in a tiny 6x6 cell with thick ass glass and stone. You're not gonna escape out of that. So I just love how many, because there's so many things I haven't thought of that are coming up now that we're talking about it. And I'm like, it's just so fascinating to think about all these possibilities, because you don't really get a definite answer on some of these, but that's okay. Speculation is so much fun, and what I love about movies. There's two moments though that we have to absolutely talk about. One of them being one of the greatest escapes I've seen. It's so amazing, because the guys come in. He has that that little, it was like a piece of a pen, I think, in his hand. And the second he puts it under his palm, and the camera is so perfect because he puts his hand behind his back and his palms are out. He's got the little piece of the pen right there. The camera kind of dollies in. He closes his hand up, gets his handcuffs behind his back. It's such a great way it was shot. And then of course he picks the lock and brutally kills that one guy, or both of them. And you're like, okay, where are we going from here? Because I'm sure the security is fucking crazy. There's no way he's going to be able to get out. And I remembered the escape right before it happened, because you see the one guy strung up and then the other guy on the ground, and you can look at his face and you're like, man, he's brutally murdered. But then you're like, well, where's Lecter? Because I don't think he just walked out the front door. And you get that aha moment when the dead, the struggling to survive cop, sits up in the ambulance, rips off the face, and then I don't remember what he does I don't think it's shown what he does to the guy in the back of the ambulance, but you're like, dude, that is one of the greatest escapes ever. And I just think how they did it and how they shot it, and not knowing where he was until that reveal was just like, it is such a gotcha aha moment, or whatever you want to call it. That was perfectly done. And then you just see him in the Bahamas calling Clarice, he's got his little hat on, his glasses, and he's just like, yep, I'm here. I'm doing me. Deuces. Holy shit, what an incredible getaway. And you know what? I genuinely love that Lecter gets away. Am I alone in that? Does anybody else like the fact that
not only does he get away, but now he's going to kill and eat the man that abused him in prison.
Right.
It's the perfect ending, because you don't want him to get away, but when he does get away, you're like, all right.
Yeah. It's like,
you rascal.
I shouldn't be rooting for him, but he's so goddamn charming and so just eccentric. You're like, I kind of like that you got away. You're too smart to be locked up in there. You need to put your mind to use. And if that involves eating people who are rude, whatever. No big deal. But yeah, that is seriously one of the greatest swaps in a movie. So good. Because, like I said, I had forgotten. I was like, how does he get away? And the second I saw the guy on the floor with the fucky face, I was like, that's Lecter. He skinned his face and put it on him. But you also have the guy up. I don't even know how he got him up there, but he's hoisted up between two big banners, and he's doing it's almost like the Viking splaying thing. It's not really, but he's just guts are everywhere, and he's hung up, and you're like, God damn, Lecter. When you kill somebody, you really make it impactful, and you don't just leave them on the floor. You tie them up. Guy is fucking theatrical with his kills. I love it.
Oh yeah.
But and just when you see that guy hanging up, it is a very big like, oh shit moment, because there was only those two cops in that room to So anything else you wanted to mention that we haven't yet? I think I got all the stuff I had written down. So anything else on the likes here?
So I mean, I really like the so this is going to be counter to what I normally say.
Oh.
Whereas I want to know where the fuck I am at any given moment if I'm inside a structure. Like, give me the fucking layout.
Yes.
Don't make it all confusing. But this movie, number one, every interior is way bigger than it's supposed to be. Comically so. Like when she goes in to that storage unit.
Oh, yeah.
That storage unit is like the fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark warehouse. No storage unit should have like that much walking space with that much shit in it. But I love how it's like a thematic element of like, you can tell it's Clarice being it's small fish, big pond, like she's way in over her head type feeling. But I really love how every new location that you're going into just feels like you're setting up to walk into a fucking haunted house. Like Bill's fucking house is horrific. And it's
vile.
It's not even that there's anything like overtly gross or like overtly disgusting. It's just a rundown house with a fucking pit in it.
Dude, hold on real quick. Sorry to tangent. Do we think that the pit came with the house that he made into that, or did he just dig that out himself? Like
I think it was a very smartly cut episode from HGTV. Like he was house hunting for a pit house, and that was the only one around. So I think the pit came with the house.
Yes, I love it. That's what I think too. But yeah, his house is just filled with a hodgepodge of mishmash shit, and you're right, it's not overtly gross, but you're like, what the fuck is happening in this house? There's some scary
just
shit.
So off kilter. Like none of it, like if you had one room of any one of these things in a regular house, totally normal. Sewing room, gotcha.
Yeah.
Pit room, it's weird, but I gotcha.
Sure.
Fucking rundown kitchen, gotcha. But when you start mixing those three things together is when it's like, all right, this is getting really fucking weird. James.
And also the basement is like a fucking never-ending labyrinth of room after room. Like how the fucking basement has to be a bigger in square footage than the house does, because Christ, it's like a haunted house down there, like you mentioned earlier. Like you're walking into a haunted house, there's just doors and nooks and crannies and rooms and pits, and you're like, the fuck, what's going on down here? This is too much, James. Fucking weird name. Did you have any dislikes for this movie?
So I had one dislike.
Okay.
And it's really fucking stupid.
Ah, yes.
But I really disliked that when they got the girl out of the pit and they're bringing her out, that she is still clutching to that maniac's dog. And they let her take the dog with her. And I'm like, all right, so many things wrong with this. Number one, why do you want to keep his dog? Because now, if he ever does escape from prison, now he's got like a vendetta against you.
Not
also, why are you letting some woman take some random man's dog? Like, I get that there was a crime involved, but take him to the pound. Like, get a third party to take this dog away that is unaffiliated with what is going on. That's my only dislike of this entire movie.
Oh, that's great. So mine are like some of these are petty, I know. Some of these are just like nitpicky. This isn't really necessarily a dislike, but when Migs threw like fucking jizz on Clarice, that's the most vile thing I've ever seen in my life.
It is really bad.
Fucking vile. I fucking can't I can't tell you how much I cannot stand how Clarice goes to the dead girl's house and and runs into her father, and she's like, oh, her room is just up the stairs to the left, just the way she left it. And then she just starts fucking touching everything, and she finds these like risque photos of the girl and doesn't put them back where they were, just leaves them on the fucking dresser. Like, dude, fucking have some subtlety, bro. Then there's a moment where Clarice has this test earlier in the film where she goes room to room making sure everything is clear, and she fails that because she didn't cover her back. And yet she still forgets to do that when she goes down in Buffalo Bill's basement labyrinth, not checking behind her, not doing a great job. Like, girl, when you gonna learn, you gotta cover your ass. And then the ending drives me fucking crazy when, after she basically knows that James is the dude she's looking for, he has enough time to turn around and run through the kitchen, no shots fired, and then James clearly has the advantage in the dark with the fucking night vision. Yeah, night vision, but he doesn't cock back his gun before that. He brings it up and then cocks it back. Bro, you should have had that shit ready to go, lift up and fire. Like, that shit, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. How stupid can you be? But I guess, he's not Lecter. He doesn't have that intelligence. So petty things they might be. I don't know. And I also forgot to say one of the other likes I had is the ending when they're splicing those two scenes together, how you think the FBI is at James' house, but it's really Clarice. Great way they edited that together.
It's so good.
So good. So two hot takes. I think one is definitely going to be a hot take. The first one, maybe not, but I have zero fucking sympathy for Catherine. Zero sympathy for this girl. Who fucking helped a guy alone with a chair? Like, the guy's like, can you help me with this chair? No, you lost me at no, bye. I'm not doing this. And my wife was like, well, it's the 90s. And I'm like, I don't care. First of all, he's just now struggling with this chair all of a sudden. Where did he come from? What? It's like 1 a.m. Don't help the guy with this chair.
Don't you know your fucking neighbors?
Yeah, don't you know your neighbors? How long has he been struggling with this chair? Where is he coming from? And if you're going to help the guy, fine. Don't take the fucking end of the chair that goes into the van, get the end and help push it in and bye. But no, he's like, get in the van, gets in the van. I'm like, you dumb bitch. So zero sympathy, zero fucking sympathy for her, because the van is also like a windowless van, and there's actually wood paneling over the back windows with these like medieval fucking like door handles that are metal and round. Like, girl, you have no self-awareness, zero sympathy for you. No sympathy for Catherine. And my other hot take is I am not big on Jodie Foster in this movie. Not really a fan. I'm not really a fan of her. I don't know what it is, but she's not to say, okay, and this is not to say she is a bad actress. I just don't think she is conveying, and maybe it's because her father dies, so she doesn't really have many emotions, but she pretty much has the same expression on her face for like 70% of the movie. It's just kind of this, I don't know.
That's just her face.
Yeah.
Like if you've seen the newest season of True Detective, Night Country,
yeah,
her and the other woman, the exact same face for the entire show. Okay. That's just what her face does. It's very Aubrey Plaza. Like, yeah. you've got that one face, and it's hard to do anything else with it.
Fair. And then I guess I just haven't seen enough of her movies. I'm not like huge on her overall, so this just might be an issue I have personally with the actress. I don't think she's bad by any means. I just think someone could have, I don't know, I just need someone with a bit more expression. And so the actor I would have picked, because I don't want to say I don't like you without picking someone else, is my choice would have been Michelle Pfeiffer. I think Michelle Pfeiffer would have done an incredible, not that she didn't do a great job. I'm not saying that it's a bad job. I'm just not sold on Jodie Foster. So it's entirely probably my own experience. Maybe there's someone else out there that's not a big fan of her, but I don't know. It wasn't sold on her. Everyone else though, fucking like 10 out of 10. You have any hot takes for Silence of the Lambs?
It's not my hot take. The hot take that I am going to read will come up in the reviews.
So Hooked for me then is basically the second that Hannibal spoke. I was like, yep, locked in. What about you?
Honestly, just from that opening crawl with the fog in the woods and Jodie Foster running through, and not even running through like, well, it's not like, ooh, training montage. It's like, hey, look at this newbie. So I it kind of hooks me from like minute one, second one.
Okay.
Because it frames itself so well, that opening swell into like this super epic Lord of the Rings score.
Hell yeah. And
then they give you like, all right, this is Clarice Starling. She works for the FBI. Start the story now.
Okay.
It's the pacing. It has that like, we're going to give you just enough information for you to go, okay, what's next? And then we're going to give you the what's next as soon as you ask for it.
Okay.
Like we're not delaying it.
Right.
The story goes and the story goes, and that's it.
Yeah, that's fair. Never Lost for me, like I said, although that ending scene kind of just bugs me because it's like you are so close to getting out of your situation. But I also don't want Buffalo Bill to win because he's a weirdo. I assume there's never a moment that loses you. This is like, right?
No. This movie had me glued from, like I said, minute one, second one. I'm strapped in, ready for the ride.
Horror moment, there's not many of them, but it's when the officers find the man hanging from Lecter's makeshift cell in Tennessee where he's at. Oh my God, such a great moment because the music swells, the camera's doing a wild thing, all their reactions are great. So that's my horror moment. What about you?
Same horror moment. The horror moment and kill, even though we don't necessarily see it.
Okay, then
that's my favorite horror moment and kill. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, that's my favorite kill too, because he is bashed. That one guy's just bashed to death with a billy club, and Lecter's face is just manic. So this is gonna be weird for my favorite character, but let me explain, okay? So don't everybody cancel me. My favorite character is Buffalo Bill. Let me explain why. Because there's a one line of dialogue, right, that Lecter says. And it says, quote, Billy wasn't born a criminal, Clarice. He was made one over years of systematic abuse. Billy hates his own identity, you see, and he thinks that makes him a transsexual, but his pathology is 1,000 times more savage and more terrifying. And we don't get any information on him, and I just find his character so fascinating because it's like, what did happen to you for you to get to this level? And not getting any explanation, I appreciate because it could be easily convoluted, but I find his character the most interesting because I'm not seeing the point A to point B, and I desperately want to know just like some sort of story on how he became who he was. Like, well, you know, if my theory is correct, you know, it's entirely possible that Lecter could have persuaded him into doing the stuff, but I mean, like, we're talking, this is some fucked up, like wearing other people's skin and shit, and my God, this is a level of depravity and just completely fucked up that's like, how did you get to that point? So I just find his character fascinating, not him as a human being, just what goes with him.
What I will say, if you want at least an obscured glance into that kind of pathology,
okay,
you would want to listen or research Ed Gein, because while he didn't wear the skin, he definitely turned his mother into furniture.
Yeah, and I know that Buffalo.
I mean, it's close enough
that's
to
fair.
Where you can at least kind of see,
contextualize it,
where the pathology from that might come from. But even so, even if we are going to base Buffalo Bill off Ed Gein, it's still fucking gross and terrifying.
Yeah, there's some trivia that I read. It's like Buffalo Bill is kind of a mishmash of Ed Gein and like a couple other people. So I'll have to dig some information up on Ed Gein. Favorite character for you?
See, now that you bring up Buffalo Bill in that way, I almost kind of agree with you, but I'm gonna go with the way too probably common answer, and Lecter being my favorite character. Just because, like, and maybe it's because, like, I do truly think that Like Hannibal Lecter is some sort of like godhead character of the universe that he resides in, because there is no way for him to be able to pre-plan his interactions or necessarily react to in the grandiosity that he does his interactions with Clarice, into the non-glass jail cell, into his interactions with the police, into that Looney Tunes ass escape. Like there's outside of you having omnipotence and you having like control of the elements, you can't do that as like a regular human. So there's some level of deification that I put on Hannibal Lecter.
Okay.
Just because otherwise otherwise the entire movie falls apart.
You're 100%.
But you also, like, without anybody saying it, you're just kind of left to accept that with the proof of how he does what he does.
Yeah, and if it was any other actor, I'm not saying anybody else couldn't have done it, but I think Anthony Hopkins was the perfect choice for the role, because without that performance and without that electricity he had, the story isn't going to be nearly as powerful. So least favorite character for me is Catherine Martin. No self-awareness. I will be teaching my daughter everything the opposite of the way she did. Like, let's be self-aware of our surroundings. Don't approach any man if it's the middle of the night. Don't trust them. Fucking walk the other way. Least favorite character for you.
Dr. Childer. He is just
the worst.
Unnecessarily cruel to everyone for no reason other than we need to give Lecter some kind of justice at the end of the, because like they wrote his escape and they're like, he's gonna escape, but like we need to give that some justification or we're kind of monsters. So we'll just have this one guy abuse him through the entire movie and then be a dick to Clarice too while it's going on, so that he can get his comeuppance and then everything wraps up in a perfect little bow.
Yeah, everything's balanced in the end. Jesus. My favorite line, and it's only because I love the way Ted Levine talks as James Gumb, but it's like right near the end of the movie where she's talking to him outside of his house where he's got the door cracked, and he goes, "Was she a great big fat person?" It fucking kills me every time. Just the way he says it. That's my favorite line, outside of the line that Lecter says about James Gumb's, like he's so much more of a monster than you think. The little thing I read. So did you have a favorite line?
I don't have a favorite line, but I am going to say that anytime Anthony Hopkins gets a 2+ minute monologue of his own without any response from Clarice, peak. It was fantastic. I loved every micro monologue that he does because it's just delivered in such an unsettling way. Even when he's spitting facts at you, you're like, I don't like the way that's delivered.
I don't like it. Yeah, major facts. Is there anything else that you would like to mention before we wrap up here?
So where I was saying, I was going to hold back my overall thoughts on this movie. I do truly think, and I don't say this very often about movies, but this to me is a perfect movie.
Oh.
Like it is from start to finish. It doesn't slack. Even with a long runtime, it doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't pander to you. Like, you don't understand why a character is smart until it's revealed why the character is smart. Mm-hmm. The acting is all fantastic. This is a perfect movie.
All right. I love it. Post review stuff here. Taglines: to enter the mind of a killer, she must challenge the mind of a madman, and may the silence be broken. I didn't write down any trivia. There was a metric fuck ton of trivia that I did not feel like going through. No goofs I could find a value. Rated 8.6 out of 10 on IMDb, 4.3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. And I think This is the first time, or, one of the like handful of times where the tomato meter and the popcorn meter are equal, because it has a 95% on the tomato meter and a 95% audience score. Cory, I know what you gave this, but tell the audience.
I gave it a 5 out of 5.
And it is a 4.5 out of 5 for me. So that is a Frightmare certified slap.
And Jessica rates it a 4.8.
Well, there we go. All right. I love ratings like that. My brain can't do it, but I love when people are like, 3.74. I don't even, yeah. Similar movies according to Letterboxd. We have Manhunter, Longlegs, The Cell, Saw, and Untraceable. I guess I can see Saw in a way. And then similar movies according to IMDb. We have Seven, Forrest Gump, Fight Club, Saving Private Ryan, and The Green Mile. Let's do our funny reviews before we get out of here. Where'd they go? All right. I assume you have 2 and 2, like the standard.
No, I actually have 5 because one of them is the hot take.
Okay, so you go first then.
Okay, so I don't know who this person is referencing, but this is a disgusting hot take from J Holo, a half-star review. Thought this movie was going to be a banger because Paige had rated it 5 stars. It's actually terrible. I can't get through it. It's not scary at all. The plot line is non-existent. The dialogue is bad. The acting is bad. She's just kind of an idiot. Terrible movie. Do not recommend.
That is an incredibly...
I'm like, this is the hottest take. That, like, so loud and so wrong.
Oh, yeah. What's it like to be so wrong about a movie because... it says didn't it say they couldn't finish it in there? So did they actually even watch the whole fucking thing? Because
I don't know.
I cannot stand people who will rate a movie and have not seen it all the way through. You cannot fucking do that. You cannot rate a movie you haven't seen all the way through. This is rules, man. God damn, that's an incredibly hot take. Wow. 4.5 stars from Alyssa. If I was Clarice, this movie would have been over in about 20 minutes because as soon as that guy threw his cum in my face, I would have killed myself. And suicide is not a joke, as I know, but I just find it funny in this sense because, like, yeah, I would have just yeeted myself to the moon. Not going to be involved in this anymore. What do you got?
A half-star review from Curtis Chen. Not a single lamb.
5 stars from Izzy. The scariest thing in this film is the close-up of a nipple ring. God, that goes through me. That is the peak of the horror genre.
Okay, I apologize for this person's username.
Oh, God.
A half-star review from Vagina Pussy Fart. Bonk-ass movie. Only gave it a half star because it made me giggle.
That is such a weird name. 5 stars from Shika. Hannibal's parents naming their child like Herderer? No. Kidnapper? Nah. Terrorist? Nope. Arsonist? No. Hannibal, ... It's the dumbest review I've ever read, but I love it. We got
a 5-star review from Landon Morris. They should call it Silence of My Lungs because I held my breath for the last 15 minutes.
Okay, 5 stars from Matthew. This is dumb shit I love. Were the lambs silent or were the lambs silenced? Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
A 5-star and a heart from Emma Connors. Real ones know this is a rom-com for Hannibal and Clarice.
Yeah, who else was shipping those characters together? Because I was. So if you enjoy the show, please rate and review on your favorite podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Slasher app at frightmarespodcast. Our email is stayspooky@outlook.com. You can also follow me personally on Letterboxd at Dr. Proctor. You are...
Frightmare's Cory.
Boo, yeah. Next episode, the bonus episode for April, which is going to be out the same day as this because the end of the month falls on a Wednesday. Gabby and I will be talking to the director of Uncle Peckerhead, Matthew John Lawrence, and it was a very fun conversation. So be sure to go check out Uncle Peckerhead if you haven't already. It is available on Prime as we speak. Watch the movie, come back and listen to that episode, and until then, stay tuned and...
stay spooky.